In this demo, I'll show you how to complete Module 2, Project 1B. You're going to be graded on Project 1A, but I'll show you the steps and the concepts are pretty similar. I'm going to flip back and forth between the Excel sheet and the instruction sheet. I've already changed the file name to number 2. That way when I upload it to the website, everything will work okay. So the first step, Lizzie is the manager of a small movie theater and wants to keep track of the expenses. So in the profit analysis worksheet, we want to change the theme. That's our first step. So we can go to the profit analysis tab just by clicking on that, and we can see that there's already a theme here. There's different colors. We want to change that theme. We can go up to page layout on the ribbon at the top, and then under themes, if we click themes, we can click that and forget which one it was, the office theme. Okay, so I'm going to click on themes and then I'll click on office, and that will change the visual layout of that theme. So over to number 2 now, update the column and row sizes. The column width of A should be 15. So I could just drag this across and try to get close to 15, but a better way to do that is if you just click on that column, and then on the home ribbon, go to Format under Cells, and you can change the column width. And we're going to change that to 15. Just type in the number 15 and click OK. To B, apply auto fit to row 1 so the row height fits the content that it contains. So just like we can auto fit by double clicking in between columns, we can do the same in cells. So in rows, sorry. In between 1 and 2, if we mouse over until we get that double arrow icon, we can just double click and it maximizes it widens that row. Next up, number 3, in cell B8, create a sum function to total the values from B5 to B7. So in B8, we're going to sum. So if we look here, B8, that's our total row, we can create a sum function. So I've clicked on the cell, and you know that I've clicked because the green box is around it. Now I can start typing my function. So I'm just going to type equals on the keyboard, and then I'm going to start typing the word sum. And I'll double click on this because this is the one that I want to use, just the regular sum. And there's a few ways to do this. I can either type B5 colon B7, or I can just click and drag to highlight those 3 cells. Then I can press enter, and it has done that math for me. Copy the formula. This is the second half of 3. Copy the formula you just created in B8 to the range C8 to E8 to calculate the total sales for the following 3 years. So just like copying a cell style, we can, or values in a cell, we can copy the formula in a cell. To do that, select the cell, then click and drag from that little green box in the bottom right, and drag across until you hit that cell E8, and then you can release that. So just to double check everything, the formula is properly showing. We will move to number 4 now. So number 4, format the range B8 to E8 using the accounting number format with 2 decimal places and $sign. So B8 to E8. We're going to highlight those cells, so click and drag to highlight those cells, and then from the number area in the home ribbon, we can just drop down and click on accounting, and that has added the $sign, 2 decimal places, and has added a comma after every 1,000. Up to number 5 now, change the fill color of A8 to E8 to light green. A8 to E8 is going to be light green, so I've just clicked to highlight those cells, and we're going to change the background color to light green. Apply a top, number 6, apply top and thick bottom border for A8 to E8. So still the same selection. And for borders, we can click right here near the font area. Top and bottom border. And there we go, we've added that. Or sorry, top and thick bottom. Okay, so let's do that again. It's not just a top and bottom border. It is top and thick bottom border. So now you can see the bottom is a little bit thicker than that top border. Next, Lizzie wants to calculate some business statistics from each year across the sales. In B9, create a formula using the average function. So in B9, we're going to create an average, and that average is going to calculate B5 to B7. So we'll start typing the equal sign. We have the cell selected, we have B9 selected. Start typing the equal sign, and then start typing the word average, and I'll double click on this one here. There's a few different types of average we can use. We're just going to use this one. So just the word average, and then we can click and drag to highlight these 3 cells, B5 to B7. And then if I press enter there, it calculates that for me. So what this average does is it just averages out these 3 cells. And then use the fill handle, copy the formula to all cells from C9 to E9. So I can just click and drag from that little box like we did earlier, and we've added the average for each one of those years. Next, number 8, in cell B10, use the max function to determine the highest ticket sales amount. So here, we're going to type another formula, so equals, and we start typing the word max. There is a function called max, so we can double click on that, and we're just going to highlight those same cells, B5 to B7, press enter, and then click and drag from that little box in the bottom right to go all the way across. And if we look at that, it is correct in every column. So the highest in 2020 was 121,361, and that's correct. And the same in 2021. Same thing with the min function. So number 9 now. Here we can just start typing equals min, and there is a min function, and we can just click and drag to highlight that, press enter, click this cell again, and then from that little green box, drag over to finish that off. We're on number 10 now. We're going to look at profit for each year. So here we're going to add in cell B21, we're going to create a formula without using a function, so we're just going to reference the cells. And we are going to look at the difference between expenses and sales. So B21 is where we're going to add this. So B21 down here, we're going to look at profit, which is total minus, so I just clicked on that cell. I clicked on B21 to select that cell, then started typing equals. You can type in B8, or you can just click on this cell, and then I'm going to type the minus key, and I'll click on B18. And now if I press enter, now we have the profit. So profit is the total sales minus total expenses. And if we continue with this, just to make sure we're subtracting the total expenses, B18, from total sales of B8. So it should be B8 minus B18, and that's what we have there. The next part of number 10, copy the formula, to the range C21 to E21. So just like we've done so far, click that little green box and drag it over, and that will show us the calculation for each year. So you can see in 2019, there was not a profit. They lost 14,000, but other years they were profitable. Number 11 now. He wants to visually highlight any year with a loss or negative profit. We're going to use conditional formatting from B21 to E21. So if we go back here, B21 to E21, with conditional formatting, you can use this to highlight certain values. Use the new rule option and select the rule type, format only cells that contain. So we have this highlighted, and to apply conditional formatting, in the home ribbon, in the styles area, go click conditional formatting, and we're going to create a new rule. Format only cells that contain. So there's a lot of different rules you can create here, but for this specific one, we're going to format only cells that contain. And if we go back to the instructions here, change the rule description. Only cells with a value of less than 0 should have a red fill color. So only cells with a cell value less than 0, and we're going to format it. So if that's the case, the fill color will be red. And then we can click OK. And then click OK again. So here, notice nothing happened to this cell, this cell, this cell, even though conditional formatting is being applied here. The only change we saw was in C21 because it met that criteria. So if you think about the rule we just created, it's saying that if there's a value less than 0, make the background color red, and this is the only one that satisfies that criteria. So to number 12 now, modify the worksheet format, change the page orientation to portrait and the margins to narrow. So the page layout is where we're going to find that. We can click orientation, so that just means portrait or landscape, and it's asking us to change it to portrait, so I'll just click portrait. And for margins, we can click margins and click on the narrow margins. Next up is number 13, so we're going to add a header to this worksheet called Cozy Movies Budget. So to do that, we can go to page layout, view, and then page layout down here. And we can just double click inside the add header, and the title again was Cozy Movies Budget. And then we can just click anywhere outside of that cell and it'll apply that text. If we go back up to view and just click on normal, then that brings us back to the regular view. Number 14 now, click on A1 and check spelling. So it says we should find and correct at least one spelling error. Excel does have spell check built in, but you have to actually activate it. So if we go to the home ribbon, the review, and then spelling. So I just selected cell A1, then went to review, and then click the spelling button. So it's found an error. It looks like we spelled maintenance wrong. So I'm just going to accept that change. So I'll click change, and then everything is good. Over to 15 now. We're going to look at the daily deals worksheet showing the specials that are currently being offered. So the idea here is that there are different sales, different specials, different discount codes at this movie theater, and we're going to try to use Excel to help us generate these, save us a little bit of time. I'm just going to move over here. If we go to the daily deals tab, we can see the discount codes here. So this first discount code, POPTFT001, Seems arbitrary, but there is a pattern here. So the first 3 letters, POP, correspond to the product name in this case, popcorn. The next 3 letters are the 3 letters that start these words, so 342 TFT, and then 001 is the discount number. So we can actually use Excel to help us generate these discount codes, and we're going to do that next. So in cell D5, enter the text CAN BBW003. So D5, I'll click on that cell to select it, and CAN for candy dash BBW for Big Bar Wednesday, and then 003 for the number, and then I'll click enter. Next we'll use flash fill to generate the rest of these discount codes for us. So select D3 to D9 and use flash fill for that range. So I'll select D3 to D9. So some of them are populated, some of them are not. And then if we go to home, maybe not home, data. So it's in data and then flash fill. So we've selected D3 to D9. We have a few cells here that follow a pattern based on these. We're going to try to use Excel to generate the rest of this content based on the same pattern up here with these cells contributing to that pattern. So again, I have them selected, and then I'll click flash fill from the data tab. And now everything has been added. So let's look at one of them just to make sure. So we have ice for ice cream, and then ICS, ice cream sundae, 007, 007. So Excel was smart enough to recognize that pattern and apply that pattern for us. Preserve the formatting, so the formatting does look good. So we can move to number 16. Range F3 to F9 shows the price discount, and we want to format that range using percentage with 0 decimal places. So this is the discount applied. We want to turn this into a percent. Easy way to do that, we can just go over to the home, and then under the number type, we can just click on that little percent button. So right now you can see 0.33, and if we click that little percent style with everything selected, it gives us the percentage format of that discount applied. So that finishes off number 16. Now number 17, format the date in B11 using the short date. So month, day, year of B11. So B11, we have that as a date, and we can just, from this drop down number area, we have a long date, but it asks for a short date, and there are all kinds of other different dates. So we can just apply the short date by clicking on that, and now we have the short date applied to that cell. And then finally change the page orientation to landscape. So we can just go to page layout and then orientation. We're going to change that to landscape, and that should finish off this module.